At the end of December 2021, things were looking very good for Magnus Carlsen's legacy. He'd been world number 1 for 11 years, world champion for 9 years. He was already considered by many to be the greatest chess player of all time. And perhaps most importantly, no one else looked close to being able to beat him in the match. It looked like he might just dominate the title for another decade. And so it came as quite a surprise when in July 2022, he announced that he would no longer defend his title as world champion. Join me as we find out why the king of chess threw away his crown. Welcome to Agilov. Magnus's relationship with the world championship title has always been a choppy one. In 2010, a 19-year-old Magnus Carlsen was already world number 1, but not yet world champion, and many were excited to see him challenge for the title. Magnus himself had other ideas, and in November, surprised many with the announcement that he would not even play in the World Championship cycle. His reason? The format was not sufficiently modern enough to motivate him to play. The format back then involved knockout-style matches to decide the challenger to the world champion, and Magnus thought this was old-fashioned. When asked how he thought the public would react to his decision, he said, "I understand if they are puzzled, but I have to make the decision I think is best for me and my career." This episode establishes two important insights into the character of Magnus Carlsen. First, it is important for him to enjoy the format of a tournament to be motivated to play. And second, regardless of public opinion, Magnus always says and does what he thinks is best. Fast forward to 2013, and changes have been made to the format of the cycle, and so Magnus plays the candidates, the tournament to decide the challenger to the world champion. In a very close finale, he wins the tournament on tie breaks and challenges former world champion Vishy Anand for the title later that year. Magnus wins, and the reign of world champion Magnus Carlsen begins. Vishy returned for a rematch the following year, which Magnus again won by an even bigger margin, solidifying his position. In 2016, he defended the title against the Russian Sergey Karjakin. In a 12-game match, Magnus lost Game 8 and was in real danger of losing his title, but his class came through and he won Game 10 to tie the classical match. The tied match thus went to speed chess tiebreaks, and Magnus won smoothly to retain the title. In 2018, the challenger was the American Fabiano Caruana. In an extremely tense match, neither player could get one over the other in 14 games. Every single game was drawn. Magnus would later say about this match that it was the closest one. With the classical portion drawn, this match also went to tie breaks, and once again, Magnus won quite smoothly. His last match was in 2021 against the Russian Nepomniachtchi. It was closely contested in the first half, but after losing a marathon Game 6, Nepo collapsed and lost 3 of the next 5 games, with Magnus running away with the match. Soon after, Magnus made a very telling comment about his playing the next match. He suggested that he might not play another world championship unless the challenger represented the next generation, specifically naming Alireza Firouzja. Many commenters thought Magnus was either playing mind games or would still play even if he didn't like it, because for most chess players, the world champion title is the main objective of their careers, the ultimate goal. Magnus was also still in his prime and rated 50 points above the next best player. But Magnus is not most chess players. He announced in a podcast in July that he would not defend his title as world champion, citing as a reason a lack of motivation.
I would not defend my title in the next World Championship match. 4 championships to 5, it didn't mean anything to me. It was nothing. I was satisfied with the job that I'd done. I was happy not to have lost the match, but that was it. The conclusion is, it's very simple that I am not motivated to play another match.
What did this mean? Well, first, the format is not his favorite. He has consistently said that he prefers shorter time controls, which allow for more games to be played, making it more likely that a stronger player will win in the end. Second, playing a world championship is a very grueling process. You have to train and prepare for 6 months to a year before the event, during which period you'll miss out on some tournaments. Magnus has done this 5 times, meaning he spent almost half of his life in the last decade preparing for and playing this one tournament. All this to play matches against a generation of players he's already proven his dominance over. Simply put, he has much more to lose than gain by playing in these matches, and he would much rather prefer to leave the title while still at the top than to continue to play and potentially lose one day to someone weaker than him.
I don't have a lot to gain. I don't particularly like it, and although I'm sure a match would be interesting for historical reasons and all of that, I don't have any inclination to play, and I will simply not play the match.
Many people disagree with this decision, but like we know about Magnus, this won't make much of a difference to him. And so in 2023, there will be a World Championship match between the Russian Jan Nepomniachtchi and the Chinese Deng Liren. We don't know if we'll ever come back to it, but for now, the title of World Champion will be contested without the greatest player of this generation. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.